Hi everyone, it's Math with A, U, B. Just get along. Little drops of water make the mighty ocean. Discrete mathematics. How to deal implication question? Implication, or if then, they are same thing. Implication or if then. Single conditional, one-sided conditional. How to find their inverse? How to find the inverse of the implication? What do you mean by the converse of the implication? What do you mean by contrapositive of the implication? Contrapositive of the implication. Inverse can be related to anything. Negation. It is simply negation. But in case of if and then, it has some same meaning though, but it is in the if and then condition. Converse, what do you mean by converse? What do you mean by contrapositive? Let me brief to you these simple ones. We have given first statement: if you start using drugs, then you are moron. Start using drugs. Suppose RP is you start using drugs, and Q, the second proposition is you are a moron. You are a moron. How to write this one in implication? Simply, that's a if, that's then. If you start using drugs, then you are a moron. Means P implies Q. P implies Q. P is sufficient for you. This is one way of implication. Then, what do you mean by inverse? How to write inverse of this one? Inverse, we have to introduce a negative of both of these. It will become, are these statements to compound sentence? This conditional sentences can be converted to if, according to inverse, if you do not start using drugs, then you are not a moron. That is the inverse of this proposition. This if and then, this implications, inverse is given by our implication. Read says if you start using drugs, then you are a moron. How inverse can be read? If you do not start using drugs, then you are not a moron. How to write in symbols? Negation of P implies negation of Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. Next, how to find converse of this implication? Converse. What do you mean by converse? We can read their converse as if you are not a moron. Change the position of both the statements. Dependent will become conditional and independent will become conditional. This one, if you are not a moron, then you start using drugs. If you are a moron, then you start using drugs. That is the converse of this statement. If you start using drugs, then you are a moron. Its converse is if you are a moron, then you start using drugs. What about finally contrapositive? Contrapositive is combination of both of these. Inverse as well as converse. Blend both of these. Look how, let me make some space for myself, then I am writing. Contrapositive of this statement. Contrapositive. Contrapositive can be written as P implies Q. P implies Q. Contrapositive. Contrapositive is negative Q implies negative P. 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 This is contrapositive. This is contrapositive of P implies Q. P implies Q. Look at this. It is inverse as well as converse. It is inverse as well as converse. What about inverse? Inverse will become negation P, negation Q. It's our inverse. Contrapositive for converse, we change both the position of this one. If become then become if. Q implies negation, Q implies negation Q. Now it is our contrapositive. It is our contrapositive. It is our contrapositive is simply converse of the inverse. Our contrapositive is converse of the inverse. Converse of the inverse. Converse of the inverse. How to read that? How to read that? If you are not a moron, if you are not a moron, then you do not start using ducks. Then you do not start using drugs. Then you do not start using drugs. That is the contrapositive of this implication. If you start using drugs and this one. Let me write simply. This is our simple implication. This is our inverse. This is our inverse. What about converse? Q implies P. This is our converse. Blend of inverse and converse is known as implication. This is our contrapositive. Contrapositive. Contrapositive is negative Q implies negative P. Negative Q implies negative P. Negative Q implies negative Q. How to read in word contrapositive? If you are not a moron, then you do not start using that. Moving towards next question, we have moving towards second sentence. Moving towards second sentence. Second implication. If it is Sunday, let me write. P is it is a Sunday. It is a Sunday. And Q is I rest all day. I rest all day. I rest all day. This implication can be written as P implies Q. If P then Q. If P then Q. These we have assumed that P it is Sunday. It is a Sunday. And Q is I rest all day. Q I rest all day. This proposition, this implication can be written as mathematically P implies Q. P implies Q. P implies Q. How to find its inverse? Inverse. Inverse. Let me write. If it is not a Sunday, if it is not a Sunday, if it is not a Sunday, then I do not rest all day. I do not rest all day. That is inverse of this implication. If it is Sunday, then I rest all day. Its inverse is if it is not a Sunday, then I do not rest all day. Then I do not rest all day. In symbols, it can be written as negation of P implies negation of Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. If it is not a Sunday, its inverse is given by if it is not a Sunday, then I do not rest all day. Then I do not rest all day. What is implication? If it is a Sunday, then I rest all day. Its inverse is given by if it is not a Sunday, then I do not rest all day. In symbols, negative P implies negative Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. It's our inverse. It's our inverse. What about converse? What about converse? Converse is this is our if condition then. If I rest all day, if I rest all day, then it is a Sunday. then it is a Sunday. That is the converse of this statement. If it is Sunday, then I rest all day. Its converse is given by if I rest all day, then it is a Sunday. If I rest all day, then it is a Sunday. In symbols, it can be written as Q implies P. Q implies P. Q implies P. What about converse? Converse is a blend of inverse and converse. Contrapositive is a blend of inverse plus converse. Contrapositive is a blend of inverse plus converse. Let's see how. Contrapositive of this statement. Contrapositive is inverse as well as converse. If I do not rest all day, then it is not a Sunday. If I do not rest, we have find converse as well as inverse. Converse plus inverse is known as contrapositive. At a time, converse plus inverse. Converse means change their position. Inverse means writing their negative. They are negations. If I do not rest all day, then it is not a Sunday. Means negation of Q implies negation of P. Negation of Q implies negation of. Simply, P implies Q is the given implication. Its inverse is negation of P implies negation of Q. Its converse is Q implies P. Its contrapositive is that I have written here. Negation of Q implies negation. Negation of Q implies negation. Moving towards next, we have question number 3. Implication number 3. If I am not a man, if I am a man, then I am not a mother. If I am a man, then I am not a mother. Suppose P is I am a man. And Q is I am not a mother. I am not a mother. If I am a man, then I am not a mother. This is our P, this is our Q. Simple implication is P implies Q. Let me write its inverse. Inverse in symbols can be written as negation of P implies negation of Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. P is I am a man. Negation means if I am not a man, if I am not a man, then negation of I am not a mother. Negation of this one is I am a mother. Then I am a mother. P implies Q. Its inverse can be written as negation of P implies negation of Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. We have to write this sentence as negative. I am a man if I am not a man. If I am not a man. It is already negative. We have to change this sentence into positive. Then I am a mother. Negation of P implies negation of Q. This is our inverse. What about converse? Converse is given by Q implies P. Q implies P. If Q means if I am not a mother, then I am a man. Converse of this one. If I am not a mother, then I am a man. Finally, how to write contrapositive of this one? Contrapositive, the blend of inverse as well as converse. How to write this? Let's see and find out. negation of contrapositive. Contrapositive. Negation of Q implies negation of. Negation of Q implies negation of Q. Write the negative of this one. It is I am not a mother. Q is I am not a mother. Its negation is if I am a mother, then I am not a man. I am not a man. Then I am not a man. Then I am not a man. That is contrapositive of this. Contrapositive. Contrapositive means blend of inverse as well as converse. This is contrapositive of P implies Q. This is original statement P implies Q. Its contrapositive is negation of Q implies negation of P. Negation of Q, write negative of this. If I am not a mother is Q, its negation is if I am a mother, then I am not a man. Negation of this. This is contrapositive of this one. Moving towards next question, we have towards question number 4. This implication reads as if you get 100% on the final, then you will get an A. You will get an A. RP is you get 100% on final exam. Or P is, suppose RP is you get 100% on final exam, and RQ is you will get an A. You will get an A. A grade. A grade. Okay. This one can be written in implication P implies Q. P implies Q. P implies Q means if you get 100% on final examination, then you will get an A. Then you will get an A. Then you will get an A. Its inverse is given by inverse. Inverse we write negation of P implies negation of Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. Inverse of this one. Inverse of this one. P is you get. You get. Its negation if you do not. If you do not get 100% on final exam, then you will not get an A. You will not get an A. Then you will not get an A. Simple implication P implies Q. Inverse is given by negation of P implies negation of Q. How to read them? Negation of P. If you do not get 100% on final exam, then you will not get any. Then you will not get any. It's our inverse. What about converse? Converse of this statement is converse of P implies Q is Q implies P. Q implies P. Q implies P. Change the conditions. Now, if you get an A, then you will get 100% mark. Then you will get 100% on final exam. Final exam. For your condition, for your convenience, from grammar point of view, if part is written in present simple, if part is written as conditional part is written in present simple, and we can use future simple in the consequence, in the result, in the ramification. Then you will get an A. That's why I have switched over the tenses as well. If you get an A, then you will get 100% on the final examination. That's the converse of this statement. P implies Q. P implies Q. Finally, what about its contrapositive? What about its contrapositive? Easy to manage now. Let me make some space for myself. Our normal implication we have given it as P implies Q. It's contrapositive. Contrapositive. Negation of Q implies negation of Q. Negation of Q implies negation of Q. What is Q? You will get. According to this condition, now this is our if condition. I write if you do not if you do not get an A, then you do not get 100% on the final exam. Then you do not get 100% on final exam. On final exam. This is our converse of this simple implication. P implies Q. Our P is, given statement is, if you get 100% on the final, then you will get an A. Its contrapositive is negation of Q implies negation of P. Negation of Q implies negation of P. If part accommodates present simple tense. If part accommodates present simple tense. That's why I have switched over tenses as well. If you do not get an A, then you will not get. Then you will not get 100%, or you can write if you do not, or you will not get 100% in that. Then you will not get 100%, or you do not get, will not more suits this one. Will not suits more this one. If you do not get an A, then you will not get 100% on final exam. 100% on final exam. Or you can write you do not get. If you will not get is more suitable from grammatical point of view. Moving towards final question, we have
Start.
Implication number 5. If it is sunny, then you will go to the beach. Our P is, it is sunny. It is sunny, sun is shining. If it is sunny, and Q is, you will go to the beach. You will go to the beach. This implication can be written as simple as P implies Q. P implies Q. P implies Q. Its inverse is negation of P implies negation of Q. Negation of P implies negation of Q. P implies Q. If it is sunny, then you will go to the beach. Its inverse in symbol written as negation of P implies negation of Q. How to read in sentences? If it is not sunny, if it is not sunny, then you will not go to the beach. Then, as a consequence, then you will not go to the beach. Go to the beach. This is inverse of this statement. If it is sunny, then you will go to the beach. Its inverse is, if it is not sunny, then you will not go to the beach. Then you will not go to the beach. Then you will not go to the beach. What about converse? Converse of this statement is converse. P implies Q is a simple sentence. Its converse is Q implies P. Q implies P. Now Q will become the conditional part. Q will become the conditional part. If Q then P. If Q then P means if you go to the beach. If you go to the beach. If you go to the beach, then it will be sunny. Then it will be sunny. It will be sunny. When sun is out, when sun will be out. If you go to the beach, then it will be sunny. If you go to the beach, then it will be sunny. That is the converse of this statement. If it is sunny, then you will go to the beach. Its converse is given by, if you go to the beach, then it will be sunny. Then it will be sunny. Then it will be sunny. Eventually, let me write the contrapositive of this one. Contrapositive is a brand of inverse as well as converse. For your convenience, I am taking table and writing contrapositive. Contrapositive. There is a simple implication P implies Q. Its contrapositive is given by negation of Q implies negation of P. Negation of Q implies negation of P. What's Q? You will go to the beach. It will become if you do not go to the beach. If you do not go to the beach, then it will not be sunny. 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 It's contrapositive. Negation of Q implies negation of P. Right? It's negation. Now this qualifies for conditional part. That's why I have switched over from future to simple tense. If you do not go to the beach, present simple suits the conditional part, then it will not be sunny. Then it will not be sunny. I have switched over the tenses. According to the grammatical demand. That is your contrapositive of P implies Q. Where P is, if it is sunny, Q, then you will go to the beach. Its contrapositive is exchange these statements and write their negatives. I have written. If you do not go to the beach, then it will not be sunny. It's my tiny effort for you guys to explain to you what I mean by if then, implication, inverse, converse, and their contrapositive. It's all by itself. Next.